energy, water, circular economy, skills, education, and also healthcare. So these are the sectors that we think will be central in this transition. Like every year, in summer, we are approaching the date of Earth Overshoot Day, which in 2023 is likely to be around the beginning of August, August the 2nd. Earth Overshoot Day marks the date when we will have officially consumed the entire amount of natural resources that our planet can regenerate in 1 year. So from that moment on, we will be living on deficit. We will be borrowing from our planet more than our planet can actually reconstruct in 1 year. Why is this important? Well, this is important because it very clearly shows that our economic model is not a model that's sustainable in the long term, because to keep that model going, we use almost 2 planets of natural resources every year.
Governments all around the world are committing huge amounts of money to the energy transition and to sustainable energy. Everybody knows that the United States, with the Inflation Reduction Act, have committed more than $1 trillion of US dollars to producers and developers in the field of the energy transition, the renewable transition. The renewable energy. Europe is following suit. Both Japan and even Australia are, as we speak, discussing the launch of similar schemes. Because of this unprecedented amount of public money, the commercial or market risk of whoever is playing in the energy transition and in the sustainable energy is relatively low, because there is a commitment, firm commitment from many governments to support them, the demand of that. So in relative terms, it's a pretty safe bet. The second implication is that these gigantic amounts of money need long times to be deployed, because everything from the raw material, manpower, specialized skills, and production capacity is constrained, is facing significant scarcity. So the energy transition is something that a theme that will last for 10, 15 years. The third one is that, as we said, many different countries are pursuing supporting schemes. So this is a global trend. However, the relative size of the packages will play a difference. So the geographic location, or where you are playing, either where you are producing your components or where you are deploying your capital, will play an important role going forward, much more important than it used to be.
This transition, which we think will be a long-term trend, will generate supply-demand imbalances on a lot of things that we are used to take for granted, but that we will have to produce in a different way. Let's make an example. If we think about energy, we will have to increase the amount of energy that we produce that's coming from renewable sources rather than from fossil fuels, for example. If we take wind energy, there are estimates that offshore installed wind capacity will have to increase by 10 times at the global level. But there are currently only 2 companies globally that are able to produce the cables we need to connect those wind farms to the grid. So this is a very clear example of a product that will become that will be in high demand during this transition, and that there is nowhere near enough supply of, and so where obviously a very interesting investment opportunity will materialize. We think there are 8 sustainability themes that will be dominant in this transition towards a more sustainable model of economic activities, and they really cover a lot of activities that we are used to take for granted and are essential to human life and also to our economic system, but that we will have to produce in a different way, in a more sustainable way. Some examples are energy, water, circular economy, skills, education, and also healthcare. So these are the sectors that we think will be central in this transition. Within those sectors, the companies that we think will be best placed to benefit from the scarcity of sustainable solution and the supply-demand imbalances that will be generated by the transition towards more sustainable economic models are companies that enjoy a very strong competitive positions in the sectors that they operate in. They have very healthy cash flow generation and high return on investment. All this allow them to be able to invest in their own growth and in their own resilience to the transition towards sustainability.
In Asia, the energy transition is becoming or already became a top priority as well as in Europe or in the US. For 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is that because of the economies of scale and the technological advancements in almost everywhere, from India to Southeast Asia to Japan, of course, even China, the cost of producing energy through renewable sources has become significantly lower than the alternative with fossil fuels. So there is an strong economic incentive to pursue energy transition. The other very important factor is that most Asian countries have always been net importers of fossil fuels and huge importers of fossil fuels. So for them, given the recent price volatility and energy crisis, it is a strategic imperative to improve their energy independence. And the only way to become energy independent is to accelerate the energy transition.